10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be with you here. It's Friday. It's August the 5th. Seems to be summer's just flying by. It's crazy. Welcome to all you listeners on CKLU 96.7 FM. CKLU, if you have the Firefox browser, you can listen to us online. Also, if you download the Radio Player Canada app, listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. As you know, thanks for joining us on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube Live at youtube.com/Sudbury News. Thanks for being with us today. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. Continue to comment. Thanks to all of you for joining the community conversation about local news and events. We really appreciate the camaraderie, the conversation that we have. We wouldn't be able to have it without you. So please make sure to keep us honest, keep us, factual. If you know things that we might have said, obviously it's happened on the show. We're not sure about certain things and you're able to pipe in because you have the experience or you know the answer to certain things. So just make sure to keep the comments coming. Make sure to like and share the video, the page. It's really important. I don't know. Facebook seems to be kind of blocking people from liking, including my wife. That's how I know this is going on. It's not just, I don't have a conspiratorial mind. My wife obviously likes the page and follows it. But when I went in to check to see followers and likes, it said that it was pending, that she didn't like it yet. And so I had to unlike it and like it. It still didn't show up. I had to unlike it and like it again. And finally it showed up that she actually liked the page. So that's not the only thing I'm basing it on. Nothing makes sense. All of the advertising we do, we actually spend, it's an average of $1 per like with Facebook. So every like we have, we've paid $1 for that in advertising. That's the only way they allow people to like the page. So not sure, even if you do share it and get people to like it, I'm not even sure if it's coming through, but at least they'll watch. And that's the important thing, I guess, as long as it's getting in front of eyeballs and ears are listening. I think that's the important thing. And as long as you're participating, I think we can have a great conversation each and every morning. And hopefully at some point, floodgates can open and allows more people to get onto the page and be able to watch or listen. Well, listening isn't a problem on the radio, obviously. That's when we're not having technical difficulties. But those seem to be taken care of this morning. And Pierre is supposed to be joining us anytime. He could be coming in as a guest. So let's just get started with everything this morning because, we'll get through some weather and some sports, and then we'll be back right after this. And Pierre is probably just going to hop on at any moment. He's got a new mic, so see how that goes.
Hello.
Yeah, so there's Pierre right there. We're just going to head into a little bit of weather, Pierre, and you sound rocking over there. Well, let's just see you. Hang on. Just hang on tight there just because I'm switching around on the switcher. And, and look at that. Hang on one sec. There, we got to get this going. And we're almost there. Well, EC Radio Canada, not really, but here it is. And there we are. We got a little bit of weather happening here. As you can tell, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's sunny, Pierre. It's very sunny out there. and it's 13
Beautiful sunny
degrees.
Day, sunny day.
It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. And man, that mic sounds good. Looking forward to chatting with you. And today it will be sunny, as we said yesterday. Fog patches dissipating this morning. High of 25, humidex 29. And tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. Wind becoming southwest, 30 kilometers, gusting to 50. A little bit windy. High of 28, humidex 36. Very hot. UV 9 or very high. And again, so the clouds will start rolling in. Sunday, chance of showers, 21 degrees. Monday, chance of showers, 19 degrees. And then it's your regular, middle of the road predictions after that. Sunny and cloudy, chance of showers, all that stuff. Anything you can say just to be kind of anything goes. That's how you predict the weather. Partly cloudy, partly sunny, chance of showers. Can't go wrong with that prediction. But anyways, at least we know this weekend it's going to be nice today, nice for most of tomorrow, and then the rain should start rolling in on Sunday. We'll be back with Pierre right after this. And as promised, we have Pierre, who's joining us, coined as best guest ever by one of our viewers and people that chime in pretty much every day. So welcome this morning. You sound really good with that mic. Oh my goodness, this is a great improvement.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just a ball of a mic. You're having a ball this morning. So yeah, it sounds good. So you're up early. We were together last night quite late, and you stayed up even later. So did you get a little bit of a sleep?
Oh yeah.
You did.
I stayed about a half an hour later. I got up at 5:45.
You know what? We got up at the exact same time. We were in sync. So great. Yeah.
I get up at 5:45 every day. So
yeah. No matter what time you go to bed.
Yes.
Oh wow.
That's the rule. Yeah, that's the rule for morning. I got a little bit of feedback here.
Oh, okay. I think if you have two earbuds in. Okay. Is it doable though? Because there's no feedback on this end. No.
Yeah, I'm 1 second. I hear myself later for some reason.
Ooh, that's very annoying. I know how that feels. We've had that here on the show.
I'll survive.
You think so? Okay. Well, I guess maybe tonight or tomorrow or something we could do some kind of test or something like that. This morning we could. Okay. We're going to do that, but it's okay. I know things happen, and believe me, I know things happen. So we're joined with a few people online here. As usual, we have the usual suspects joining us. Oh, there is an echo. Huh, that's odd. So I don't have an echo on my end. That's weird. Okay, well, if the listeners are hearing an echo, I'm not sure why that is. Let's see here. Just muted your mic, and hopefully there's no, there's feedback. Oh, that's not good, man. It really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I muted your mic now while I'm talking, and I don't know if that then solves it or not, but I'm going to unmute your mic now, and we'll see if there is indeed an echo. And now Tina's telling me, oh, no echo on the radio. No, there wouldn't be on the radio. It would just be on Facebook Live.
That's good.
Were you able to work any magic over there on your clicking of sound? No, eh? Pierre?
Clicking sound.
Oh, you have an echo when you talk, but I don't on my end. So I guess the viewers are hearing a bit of an echo. But that's odd. I don't know. On my end, I just looked if I could do something. And if I take voice mode off, I don't know if that helps anything or not. Let's see if that helps. I don't know. Do you still hear an echo,
Echo.
Pierre?
Yes, 1 second delay. 1 second delay.
Okay. Well, I clicked one button, the only button that I had here that could do anything. I'll just click that back to the way it was.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah, I know. I was looking through all of the instructions. This was the only issue that come up. It's okay.
Well, I don't know. What do we think? We want to take a chance on maybe just coming back next week and doing it then?
Sure.
You know what we should do? We should learn our lesson and do a little, a little practice run first.
Yes. I forgot that I have a Friday morning call until 7:30.
Oh, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. So let's just we'll try. We'll try next time, and we'll just go from there. I got lots of news to cover, anyways. We should be good. And Pierre, thanks again, man.
I'll do some typing on the Facebook group here.
Hey, right on. Appreciate it. Okay, have a good one, Pierre. Okay, ciao. That was Pierre Benum. I mean, the guy's amazing guest, and obviously people really enjoy him coming on. But technical things we'll just have to get through. I know he's going to be picking up a mic, and that should be then going forward. He'll be all set up and ready to come on. He had a lot of interesting things to contribute to today as well, but unfortunately, we'll just have to carry the reins, and he'll have to, like he said, chime in on social media, which is I'll just have to keep on top of comments, which not the easiest to do when you're solo, but we'll see what we can do here. And let's start off with a little bit of a sports update, because it is Friday, and there's usually some sports going on Saturday when it comes to football. So let's do a little Spartans update. All right, as promised, you got your Spartans. This is a brand new season. Sudbury Spartans focused on NFC quarterfinal. Junior LeBrose is very well aware of the Sudbury Spartans' past, from championship dynasties to much lesser or leaner years. Member of the team during the last true heyday, the club's current head coach was a star defensive back for the last Sudbury squad to win the Northern Football Conference playoff game in 1994. So it's been a long time since Sudbury has won. They have definitely, though, undefeated season other than the last game against the Sioux. So amazing season. Heading into the 2022 postseason, however, LeBrose said his staff had little time for nostalgia, nor for looking too far ahead. Their focus is squarely on the immediate future. More specifically, a quarterfinal matchup with the Toronto Phantom Raiders to be played at James Roane Sports Complex this coming Saturday, 7 p.m. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. We're a bit banged up and have lost a couple of players, but that's football, LeBrose said. It's that time of year now where the guys have to do a bit of a gut check. Are you injured or are you hurt? There's no saving yourself now, because we have to take care of business this week, and there's no week after. The 2-week break since the heartbreaker loss to the Sioux Steelers in their regular season finale has certainly been beneficial, giving the Spartans time to heal their bumps and bruises and to shake off the disappointing defeat. So after that game, the Sioux was done, and me and the coaches had already moved on from it, and insisted LeBrose, whose team finished second in the NFC at 5-1. The message we'll keep preaching to our team is you got to have a short memory. So yeah. So this Saturday, they go ahead, get out and support the Sudbury Spartans men's team. They're in the quarterfinals. They are looking for a new championship for the first time since 1994. I think it's time. Get out, support them, and let's have a really good turnout to support them. And that's all we can do, really. So we'll be back right after this with more, with the headlines, and we'll have a good chat today. Lots of stuff in store. Yeah, and like I said, there's lots of news always happening in Sudbury and around the world. And so anything that has something to do with Sudbury or you or I, we could cover. We mainly like to keep it local, but you never know. There's some things that impact, that are going on nationally or internationally that also impact us as well. So we'll just do our best to keep the localness going, obviously, and the conversation. And so with that in mind, we do have our hospital here, which has its own issues, and but it also is an Ontario and possibly Canadian and possibly worldwide issue as well. So faculty policy partially to blame for hospital staff shortages. So here the author of the article on the Sudbury Star alludes to the fact that that there's a few other reasons other than what we're being told about nursing shortages, and partially due to the policy where if you test positive, you can't come to work for 5 days. So that'll put a damper on staffing, obviously, if you can't come to work for 5 days. And the tests themselves, arguably, aren't all that accurate, right? So you could test positive when you really aren't, and you could call in and say, I tested positive and I don't even know. So do they say, well, send us a picture of pic from your phone to prove you tested positive? I don't even know how they regulate that. But anyways, if you do test positive on a test that it's arguably not accurate, it's been proven that it's not accurate. It's kind of 50% accurate. So you're taking a test that's 50% accurate. And if you test positive, which could be not positive, you call in and say, I tested positive, and you get 5 days off. So 5 days off of a nurse in an unstaffed or short of staffed hospital, it was really going to put another dent in it, basically. It's not helping anything, that's for sure. Then they also talk about what we talked about on the show, that the policies to, fire people that weren't, fully vaccinated or whatever. That's going to create a shortage as well. Now, he watches what he says in the article. He says that's not accounting for that many, however. But there's some doctors that make the recommendation that they should hire back those that were fired. And that would definitely help things in the short term to get nurses back. And then also you want to pay the nurses well. And so with that, and then there's also the call from political leaders to make it so that way foreign workers that have taken nursing in their countries can just basically get okayed quicker to become nurses here. So there's less red tape. And so that would help us to get more nurses as well. So these are the things that are going on. But to me, the great reveal in here for a suggestion is that something will have to be done with these COVID tests and testing positive. It's 5 days off. Let's just say, and I'm not saying this happens, but someone wants to take off on a little trip somewhere, but they're like, I don't have any holidays left, but I do have 3 rapid tests. So if I take all 3 rapid tests, one of them might come out positive. Then I can get 5 days off. Not saying this happens. I'm not saying that has happened. I'm not even saying anyone would even think of doing that. But it's possible. That could happen. I'm sure it's crossed some of your minds as well. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thought of that. So Miles, you're saying the user tests. Yeah. The rapid test is unsure. You should follow up with a PCR test, which is significantly more accurate. I don't know the percentage of PCR tests. Okay, fair enough. But I also know being more accurate, they're still not 100% accurate, right? But again, what are we using mostly? Rapid tests. What are the nurses using at home? That's, I guess, what we're talking about here to test at home. More than likely a rapid test, I would think. And if they're only 50% accurate, then they're missing out on 5 days and they didn't even have COVID. Now watch this one. I love this. And if so, they're only 50% accurate. You take it. It says you're not positive when you are, and you go to work. So now what? It's like, it to me, I scratch my head on this whole thing. So you take a test, it's not accurate. So it says you're not positive when you are, you go into work, you infect everyone over there, you come back, you do a test again. It says you're positive when you're not, and you don't have COVID, and you could have went to work, and now you're home and they don't have a nurse there. Like, does anyone else see any problem with that at all? I don't know. Yeah, it's just bizarre. Okay, so Pierre's chiming in, and St. Joseph's Clarion used rapid tests, and they send you home immediately. Exactly. Now I'm wondering, do they just do the one test? Do they do 2 out of 3? Like Meatloaf kind of thing? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Or is it just the one test? They send you home if you test positive. I don't know. To me, when I first heard this, that they were going to introduce this system in a lot of workplaces, the first thing that crossed my mind is that has a possibility of being exploited for people. Yeah, that's what I thought, Pierre. One test. Exactly. Bye. So you could have been tested and you had it and it was inaccurate. So you stayed, passed it to everyone else. And if you tested positive and you didn't have it, you're sent home and now they're short staffed. Like, that just does not make any sense whatsoever. Everyone should just stop testing. It fuels the fire. Let's go back. If you're sick, stay home. Exactly. So if you feel sick, stay home. If you feel okay, go to work. Like, we're basically relying on tests that aren't accurate. And we're bypassing our own intellect and our own gut feeling about things, right? So, and this 5-day thing, it's like, what the heck? Maybe a day, maybe 2 days. I don't think the science is in 100% on everything. PCR is easily manipulated to attain desired results, depending cycle threshold and number used, etc. Jerome. So yeah, this is a huge topic and it affects all of us. Now talk about supply chain problems. This is a global problem that's happening. Like the baby formula down in the States, the babies dying because they can't get any formula because there's supply chain issues. Would you think this possibly could be one of those reasons? People aren't coming into work and making the products because they're taking 5 days off and they don't even have it because it's not accurate. Right? So does that make any sense? And this again is babies dying because they can't get formula. Okay, if a few people were going to die from infection, either way, you gotta really kind of pick your battles here and understand what's going on. Now they also talked about surgeries back when everything was going on, hot and heavy. So it's better than beginning when it was 50. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was 15 days before. Ouch. Yeah, I was just graduating university at that time, so I wasn't in the workforce full time. And I was working from home anyways, so. Actually, I was working full time for a while, working from home and graduating university, and I didn't realize it was 15 days. So again, that would have made an impact on our supply chain, on our manufacturing and everything. And that's including food processing, going to to manufacture food. The very basic necessity that we have is to eat. And if the food distribution gets some chinks in the chain, it's going to create huge problems. Not to mention Joe Biden just came out and said, for sure, we're going to have a food shortage. So he said that's inevitable. So that is the president of the United States saying that. So anyways, all this to say, nursing shortages, how can we, in long-term care, it's 10 days. All right. So I guess different businesses and different organizations have their own, but I guess the hospital and the nurses are 5 days and it's long-term care. It's 10 days. Oh my goodness. So unfortunate for those that need the care in long-term facilities. They're already, facing problems with shortages there as well, and good care, right? And I don't know. It seems that way, Jerome. I would definitely think. My take on it is it's an act of war from an outside entity, or even entities from within, to kind of corrode our society from within, because there's less casualties for the other side when you do that. And if you take in our drug epidemic too that we have, that's another way to erode society. If you erode a society from within and it rusts and it can't function, that's what it is. And so also, so Miles is saying ministry guidelines, right? So if you can influence the influencers from outside forces and make them do things that are detrimental to their own populations, why do you got to bomb them? You can't. Don't have to. Don't have to have any casualties on your side whatsoever, and they'll kind of take care of their own things. And that's what I mean. We're doing things that don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And if it does to you, and that's fine, and it'd be good to talk about how it makes sense, but to me, it doesn't make any sense at all. Okay. So, and it's going to have detrimental effects on our society. So next story we're covering here is shared on our Facebook page. CBC has a story on gig workers. Talked a lot about that in university, how our economy is going less and less where you're paid hourly and you have, some safety nets and things. You got benefits and whatever, that you're part of a union, let's say, possibly. These gig workers that are out there, case in point, someone who drives for Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, DoorDash, or an Uber driver, period, picking up people, gig workers. They're working on contract just for, fee for service. You go and pick someone up, you get $5, $10, whatever it is per action that you do. Well, anyways, advocates for gig workers are concerned workers aren't fully aware of how they can protect themselves and how, and have now teamed with community partners in Sudbury to host workshops. So they're going to have workshops on outlining new legislative changes that can impact them. Workers Center advocates want to help young gig workers understand their rights. So, yeah. So that is an issue. People working for, you get so much per delivery. I started a business back in 1999. It is that very thing. It was gig workers back then. It was just kind of up and coming. And, it was, I was at the front of the wave, but too ahead of the wave because we didn't have apps at the time. So I created a restaurant delivery service. Same idea as Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats, DoorDash, same idea. But we had a website where you go to and you order, and then that kind of alerts the restaurant. They print out the order, make it, give it to the driver. Back in the day, we had two-way radios. We'd have to dispatch the driver to go there, pick up the order. The customer called us. We called the customer, said your order will be there in whatever, or emailed them. Because again, this texting wasn't even all that, used back when we had the business in 99. So anyways, ran the business for 10 years, sold it just before the apps came out. If I would have hung on for a few more years, whatever, we would have been doing that ourselves, and we would be right in the heat of all this, the gig worker. Do they have rights? What rights do they have? It's creating another whole sector of society. It's a vulnerable worker segment. But who do you see mainly working for and delivering for Skip the Dishes? You see international students, let's say, working on the side, or you see people internationally coming in and working. So you do see this kind of divide where you have people from other cultures coming in and working in the gig economy, right? So you're creating a whole other class, and it's kind of interesting, and it does have issues for sure, and they do have to be dealt with. As far as I'm concerned, because it is a thing. Road closure last night on Highway 17, right about Fairbanks Lake. Hopefully you weren't caught in that. It's now opened. It's now since been opened. We talked about the Spartans, and here you go. Seniors groups. Now, Pierre would have been really great to comment on this. Seniors group. And Miles was just saying that BlackBerry popularized texting. That is true. Definitely did. They were pioneers in that regard. And Pierre would have been able to speak to this story because seniors groups are going to be getting $154,000 in federal funding. There's 9 local groups focused on creating positive spaces for seniors. And definitely I know he works in that sector. And so he might even be part of the, being part of this funding or whatever through whatever organizations he's dealing with. Now, this is one, in city politics, sometimes it's boring in some communities. And in ours, we had a lot of things going on with the city. So not necessarily boring. And this particular counselor makes it even less boring. The headline is Vagnini accused of threatening deputy fire chief. I think this has been going on for some time. In its latest report to City Council, Integrity Commissioner Robert Swayze, no relation to Patrick, I believe, outlines an allegation Ward 2 councillor Michael Vagnini threatened a fire department deputy chief by saying recognizing his apology would be in the deputy chief's best interests. Interesting stuff, and the saga continues. So that's from Sudbury.com. So what does he mean when he says, so he apologized, obviously. Public apology, wrote a letter, and he said it would be in your best interest if you did recognize my apology. Oh, and then, so if going back to Pierre and, his knowledge of the seniors community here in town is the seniors are the fastest growing demographic. 55 plus is a senior. Oh my, coming up on that very shortly myself. And it is what it is. I guess, back in the day, senior was not recognized as 55. I think even some were recognized as 50 at some point, but anyways. So Michael Vagnini could indeed be a senior, is what I'm thinking. And he writes an apology to the deputy fire chief, accused of threatening fire department deputy chief. Another alleged breach of the city's code of conduct has been added to the pile against Ward 2 councillor Michael Vagnini. The latest in an outlined report by City Integrity Commissioner Robert Swayze, in which Vagnini is alleged to have used threatening language in correspondence with the deputy chief, Jesse Oshel. The City Council will vote August the 9th on whether to approve Swayze's recommendation that Vagnini be suspended for a period of 40 days, commencing with the next pay period. In Swayze's report, Oshel outlines the contents of a 15-minute phone call he had with Vagnini, in which Oshel said the councillor suggested that it would be that in the best interest of fire services and in my best interest, I could recognize that he apologized to me and that we were amicable so that my claim with the integrity commissioner could be withdrawn. It would help with his position on council or if he chose to run for mayor. On May 2nd, Vagnini registered to seek re-election in Ward 2 for the October 24th municipal election. So I guess at one point he was possibly thinking of running for mayor, as that conversation would suggest. The one of the two complaints under the commission in the initial report was filed to the CAO, David Archer, on behalf of O'Shell, after Vagnini was accused of employing, quote, vulgar and disrespectful behavior, unquote, in correspondence with the deputy chief. Vagnini had asked for the department to supply a fire truck and other bunker gear for the funeral of a former volunteer firefighter who was a friend of his, according to Swayze's initial report. The deputy chief of the department politely refused to supply the apparatus to the funeral home because of the extreme cold and the risk of damage to the equipment, according to the report, which it's alleged Vagnini responded to the following with the following comments over the phone. This is, you can read it there. This is bull crap. Don't play that frigging game with me. Now I'm using different wording to supplement. F off. I can't believe you won't do this. Don't try to tell me this is, crap. Swayze's initial report notes Vagnini apologized to O'Shell, apparently on legal advice. Vagnini's June 20th phone call with O'Shell resulted in Swayze asking City Council to defer judgment on the matter so that he could draft up the following follow-up report on the phone call for consideration. And has now completed the report. Swayze contends the phone call included an implied threat that Vagnini said it would be in O'Shell's best interest to accept his apology as amicable. Ouch. So if I'm hearing that from somebody, usually, it's it's something right out of Goodfellas or something, you would think, or Scarface, or, something like that. And that's the tone I would kind of think, if that indeed is the tone, or is that the reason. Vagnini also maintained his phone conversation with O'Shell was not in any way contentious or disrespectful. I'm of the opinion that he attempted to use his influence over O'Shell to accept the apology and withdraw the complaint filed by the CAO. Swayze said in the report, adding that he agrees with Archer's sentiment. Vagnini's apology does not absolve the councillor of his actions and repercussions. So I guess he realized he was in hot water, consulted his lawyer or got legal advice. They said, you better apologize for this. And then he did, and he hoped that in his apology, it would absolve him from the original complaint that was made about him, rather than just be included in the argument that he made the accusation, he did what he did, and then he was sorry for it later, which is the case. So he just wanted it to kind of be thrown out. I can see why he wouldn't, want it to be. I could see him trying to do this, and a phone call to the person, I guess, is one way of doing that. Now, some comments here on our Facebook page. Craig Cunningham, who's a top fan on our Sudbury News Facebook page. Here we go again. Does he have a punch card or something? Insult 6 city officials and get a raise? And, some other comments here. It seems he thinks he can do whatever he wants as long as he throws in an apology after. Similar to, kind of what I was talking about. So there's a couple comments on that story. Something we've been covering so very much on this show is the KED project. And so the city sunk $5.2 million into the Kingsway Entertainment District. Next week's city council meeting will include a report directing the final steps to wind down the city's involvement in the Kingsway Entertainment District project, which council voted to effectively kill on July the 12th. So $5.2 million altogether, I guess they were saying, went into the Kingsway Entertainment District to come to naught. And again, if we want to include some of the comments from some of our people on Facebook page, this is Roger, says, what a joke. I wouldn't trust the city to organize a bake sale. Not my words, that's his words. Now you can please take down that sign, as it seems to be a reminder of this ridiculousness. So that's Roger, what he thinks about all that. Yeah, we talk at length on the Kingsway Entertainment District and what it is. And so since they're going to be talking about it next week, we'll unpack that, because obviously we're going to have whatever results from their meeting, what comes of it. It's a big debacle, another one to chalk up in the city with you have the Laurentian situation with our university going bankrupt. You have the KED situation where we're not able to build an arena, not able to decide whether a casino, we should have a new one or keep the one in Chelmsford. We have a nursing staffing shortage at our hospital, which seems to have the same CEO as Laurentian University previously. And, we may even have to shut down our emergency room. They're building a $100 million library in the only parking lot we have for the Sudbury Arena that they're still going to use for hockey games. Yeah. So it's definitely not boring what's happening here. There's no doubt about it. Miles says you can only deal with city managers as a councillor. Yeah, that's true. So he kind of overstepped his bounds talking to the deputy fire chief for sure. In other news on our Facebook page, here you go. Talked about this a while too, but you had a man caught in Sudbury with fentanyl. So I wonder what he was planning on doing in Sudbury with his fentanyl. Trafficking charge reduced to possession. Oh, so he's not, they're not throwing the book at him. He's kind of getting a bit of a break here. A North York man found with fentanyl when Sudbury police checked a vehicle in downtown area last year has been issued a 90-day conditional sentence. Okay, I guess they weren't able to prove he was here to sell the darn stuff. Maybe he was going to take it. D'Angelo Forde, 25, who was originally charged with fentanyl possession for the purpose of trafficking, pleaded guilty via Zoom link in the Ontario Court of Justice at the Sudbury Courthouse to a lesser charge of fentanyl possession. So Justice Jenny, let's just call her that, accepting a joint sentencing submission from the Crown and defense, and the defense lawyer of Toronto, who was also appearing via Zoom link, also issued a 1-year probation order. So the conditional sentence will consist of 45 days of house arrest, followed by 45 days with a curfew. The conditional sentence includes conditions such as no weapons, no illegal drugs, and to take treatment as directed. The probation order includes several of the same conditions. Oh my goodness. His condition includes no illegal firearms or no illegal drugs. That should teach him a lesson. Hopefully, he doesn't breach his probation and have illegal firearms or illegal drugs. That would, I think that's just called breaking the law, period. But that's part of the conditions. Anyways, so moving on. That is a huge problem in our city. Fentanyl and drug use, period. And, I don't see any solutions in the immediate future, especially if, we're not cracking down on it getting here. First of all, cracking down on whoever has it, whoever's planning on selling it, If you don't crack down hard, you just allow it to happen, the results are apparent what's going to happen. If you get addicted to that stuff, if you allow it to get in the hands of your loved ones and they start taking it, you can't reverse the clock a lot of times. So I think preventing it is the best method to begin with. Keep it off the streets. When it gets on the streets, make sure that those who are involved in it know that if they are caught doing it, that it's not going to be a 45-day house arrest and being told not to have illegal firearms and illegal drugs. That's not going to solve it, in my opinion. Okay, so Ontario, we talked about this along with the nursing shortage, right? So Ontario looks to okay international nurses faster amid closures. Temporary emergency rooms closures have Ontario looking at how to get more internationally trained nurses working in the province. So here you have internationally trained anything. So engineers, architects, electricians, you name it, psychiatrists, doctors. It's not recognized in Canada for a few reasons, or they're not recognized in Canada for a few reasons. And I guess the industry would vary of what reasons would be for which particular industry or area. I was talking to my hairdresser yesterday, and he said, being a hairdresser isn't even recognized in different provinces. They want to correct that. They want to have one kind of standard for all of Canada, so that way it's like a red seal. You can go anywhere, practice. But you have to write an exam, no matter where you go, to be able to operate in that province. So here they want to okay internationally educated nurses. There is one main problem. I'll just point that out before we move on. And that is the reason why a lot of international students come here. I would just say India for one example. The reason why we have such a robust international student population here, and it is keeping our universities and colleges going basically at this point, is that you can't offer money here at our accredited schools and get a degree. It's very hard to do. I know there were some elite people recently in the news, like 5 years ago or so, that were caught doing this in the United States at some prestigious universities. And because I think they paid millions to get these degrees. By and large, you can't do that here. It's really hard. I would say next to impossible. But in India, you can. You can say, I have $1 million and I want my youngster to get this degree. And by darn it, they get it. Because you can bribe the system. Because bribing is part of the system in many, many, many countries. It's just part of the way of doing business. Education, same thing. You can bribe your degree. You can get a degree through bribes. So there's an issue here I have with just okaying someone who's educated internationally and having them come in and just practice here. And that is, how do you know they didn't bribe their way to getting their degree, their credentials? And how do you really, you got to look at their programs too, and they have to, there's a lot. So there are ways to do this. I'm not saying there's not, but fast tracking this and not looking at how we can get the internationally accredited people, not only nurses, but other trades and things too, there should be a way where they can be integrated a lot easier than it is now. But I don't think you should fast track it and just rubber stamp it just because we have a nursing shortage. You might have someone who just bought their degree treating you. You don't want that. You may want a shortage instead of that. You may want to just wait longer and have someone who actually knows what they're doing treat you rather than someone who doesn't and treat you right away. So this definitely needs to be looked into, and I hope that we take the necessary steps to, yes, integrate those people that are coming into the country who have educations, have experience. Make it easier, but don't make it so that way we're doing this in an emergency and you're just rubber stamping people in. Like, yeah, do your necessary due diligence and whatever. That's just my own take on it. And the NDP, who we have right in our own backyard, Franz Jelena, she basically disputes the claim that the Premier has about nursing shortages. NDP health critic says it's time now to repeal Bill 124 and to bring healthcare workers back into the fold. So, Bill 124, though, all it talks about is a wage freeze, basically, is the main aspect of Bill 124, is to keep the public sector's wages frozen, or only a 1% increase, per year for the next 3 years. And if you look at the public sector compared to the private sector, they're already way ahead of the game. So I don't know if this is like a totally political thing. Like if you really look at it in the private sector, businesses who pay their employees, even the minimum wage, things like that, way underpaid compared to private sector, which nurses fall under. So having a 1% wage freeze, you can only get a 1% increase per year for the next 3 years, is very, fair, understandable, because their wages, were kind of out of hand. And maybe you have to look at nurses separately from other public sector employees. Maybe that's the thing. So maybe it shouldn't be lumped in just to that one size fits all. Governments, unfortunately, that's what they usually do, is the one size fits all. It isn't effective for everybody. So anyways, that's Franz Jelena wanting that to take effect. And we talked yesterday about this and said that we would talk about it today. And I do have something that we can even end on, and that's the the social media. Social media. We're getting to the point now where Bill C-10 was knocked down, and then Bill C-11 came up in its stead, and it's now looking at having the CRTC regulate, even people like us, and make sure that, anyone who comments, like yourself, if you comment and you say something, and we would be responsible for your comment. And if you said something derogatory, let's say you didn't agree with another person commenting on here, the CRTC could say, "Oh, it's not right. You can't do that," and we could be shut down. So then what are we going to do then? We're going to take off your comments. So now we can't have a conversation on the show. And then something I might say, if I shared my opinion of something, that's going to be flagged. And I'm just a small guy in a small city in Northern Ontario saying something. Why should it really matter, all that much? But it'll be shut down. So it was originally brought in for people like Netflix and things like that for Canadian content. That's why the CRTC. And they tried to slip in things like that to hold even individuals accountable. Whatever you post to your Facebook, you're accountable for. And it's not just the law. It's whatever the CRTC deems to be not right. So they can just shut it down if they want to. So this isn't really good for people going out there and having conversations and sharing points of view and things like that. It's really detrimental to that. But we, again, don't have enough time to unpack that. So possibly on Monday, I got a video I want to share too that goes along with this. We'll get into this because this is a thing that hasn't really come into being yet, and it's going to be ongoing. But I want to talk about that in depth So thanks for joining us today, everyone, on Facebook Live. We almost had Pierre come on. He's going to be on next time. So, yeah, that's true. Not everyone can handle criticism, unfortunately. You ever hear, can you take a joke? Just learn to laugh at yourself. Well, some people can't do that. But anyways, we'll be back same time, same place, Monday, right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, CKLU 96.7 FM. And if you're listening on CKLU, stay tuned now for Earshot Daily. We'll be back same time, same place, Monday. Have a great, great weekend, everyone. Ciao.